Hello and welcome to today's webinar on accelerating cloud adoption. I'm your host Felician and I'm a marketing manager at Maxima Consulting, a global IT consulting company helping enterprises solve their tech challenges. I'm joined today by Rajit Krishnan, the co-founder and CEO of Cloud Control. Rajit, please tell the audience about you and your company.
Thanks, Felician. My name is Rajat Krishnan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cloud Control. We are a SRE as a service company. We help our customers adopt cloud faster. And in that process, we help customers save up to 40% on total cost of ownership. And also we accelerate the cloud adoption. Thanks.
Awesome. So today, when you look at the market, almost every company is using the cloud in one way or another. And some of them are still in the process of migrating. They try to do it, but then sometimes they fail, or it's not as efficient as it could be. So today, maybe we'll answer some questions and maybe address some of the challenges that they can face. So let's start the session.
All right. Hey, thanks everyone for joining. Go ahead, Felician. Let's start.
Yeah. So, Rajit, can you provide an overview of the benefits of using templates for cloud adoption?
Yes. So first, let's look at what the cloud is used for, right? Why are we moving to cloud, right? So I put together like 6 points here. When you move to cloud, what that means is you have better time to market, and you have better scalability. The reason is because in the cloud everything is software defined, and it's all virtual, and you can get resources really quick. Within minutes you can get a new server or new service, things like that, right? So time to market and scalability is one reason why people go there. Lowering the cost of ownership, that is, if let's say when you're buying servers and putting it in your private infrastructure, there is upfront cost, and then you have to maintain it, you have to upgrade it. So in the cloud, it's all managed for you. So servers are managed by cloud providers like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. Those are the three leaders in the space. Now Oracle is in the space as well. So they manage it. They invest a lot of money in this, and they make it as efficient as possible. So you're now getting that benefit of lowering the cost. Plus, now when it comes to putting new features out there, like for example, you must be using cloud for your customers. You might be providing services to your customers. So when you want to get a new feature out, the agility of getting that out there and fine tuning it is much faster. Now it also enhances collaboration. We all saw that during the COVID season, right? When the people have to work from different places, they were able to use cloud to work together, and you can do that in your own business, right? So that's another advantage. Improving security and reliability. So when it comes to cloud, the large cloud providers, they invest a lot of money in securing your infrastructure. So you can take benefit of that. Plus, since it is a fast moving world, software defined, your innovation is going to skyrocket. You have no limits in terms of what you can bring to your customers. Like for example, recently you heard about ChatGPT. You now have the ability to bring ChatGPT features to your customers, and a lot of people are now using language processing. For example, if you have to call a customer service number, now instead of a human, it's an AI talking to you and figuring out where you want to go, where to direct your call. These are things that you can actually start you leveraging when you use cloud. Now, to answer your question now, when you want to use cloud, when the basic thing is, hey, how do you use cloud the most efficient way? So what we have realized is, after migrating more than 20 plus customers and almost about 3,000 plus application into the cloud, we realized that a templates-based approach is better. So here are some of the advantages of using templates. Now, as I mentioned earlier, cloud is infrastructure as code. It basically means it is software defined. So you can actually put code in. You can have a infrastructure team or a development team come in, and they can actually put code in place to define your infrastructure. So that is a huge advantage. Next one is GitOps. You can completely control everything through Git. I know it's a bit technical, but these are the benefits when it comes to actually adopting cloud and speeding it up. Auto scaling. For example, let's say you have traffic coming in during a festival season or maybe a promotion. So you want to make sure that you have adequate infrastructure behind the scenes. Cloud can provide that, and without a template, it's tough to do that because different types of application needs different kind of scaling capabilities. When you have a template, you can achieve that very easily. Governance and compliance. When regulators are watching you, you want to make sure that when they come in, you can provide the right reports to them so that the customers' data is protected and the regulated boards are happy. So you can achieve that very easily when you use templates in the cloud. Now, if you don't use templates, this becomes a challenge. Now, collaborating and knowledge sharing. So when it comes to templates, the templates are predefined. So working on that and improving it it will be very easy, and that's one of the things that we do as part of our platform. Now, disaster recovery. When it comes to DR and high availability, templates helps you a lot because you get a repeatable process. So that means if region 1 is down, you can bring up region 2 pretty quickly because you have the templates for it.
Awesome. Like, if any of you have any questions, just post them on the chat and I can ask them Regit directly. But Regit, what are the typical challenges organizations face when they adopt cloud technologies? And yeah, how can templates solve them? Because I can guess that not every challenge can be solved that easily.
Good question. So since I think I'll go back to my earlier mention point I made, which is cloud is software defined, right? So which means you can actually run scripts or you can program it, right? So when you want to, and at the same time, the cloud providers also give UI for you to click through, right? So now you have a choice. Okay, do you code for it or you go to the console and click buttons, right? Now the issue with clicking buttons, it's an easy way to get in, but the problem is it's not repeatable. For example, you might achieve one result using one of your team member today, and tomorrow when you want to repeat that, if that person is not available, you don't know what buttons they pressed. So and behind the scenes, even the cloud providers, when you click those buttons, it is actually using APIs or software to control it, and they give you access to the software directly through APIs. So what templates does is templates automate everything. You can script everything. You know exactly what template to use for each action, and it will repeat the same again and again. Now the challenge is that, hey, how do you get to that template based model? So if I continue to use the screens where and check boxes and buttons, that is not a repeatable process, and that is prone to human error. So that is the biggest challenge. So let's say, and we all know that from I don't want to name names, but large enterprises got hacked because somebody did not press the right button, and it was kept open. Backdoors were kept open, and hackers got in, and some of the enterprise did not even know until 5 years that their data was getting stolen, right? So that is because when you do stuff on the cloud, if you don't have a repeatable process that can be checked and that can be monitored, audited, you have a problem. So what I recommend is, when you're serious about cloud, make sure that you're using templates rather than going to the console and clicking buttons. That is always prone to human error, and that's the biggest challenge. Hey, how do I go from the quick and easy console access where I'm pressing buttons to a template into a repeatable process? Now, how do you do it? You use templates.
So would you say that, yeah, eliminating human error from the whole process will give you the best results in the long run?
It does. So a couple of things, right? Number one, I think I think in the screen you have the benefits here, right? To achieve a lot of these primary benefits, it's always better to create templates and not use the human approach where you go into the console and click buttons. So there, the human error, possibility of human error is very high, and also repeatability is a problem, right? For example, if the technical lead who actually did the work first time, if he or she is not available, and if you have to do the same thing, what do you do, right? So they are on vacation. Maybe they couldn't get to the console on time, or maybe their network is in poor state. So they on that particular day. So the question is, how do you get over it? The best option is create templates.
Yeah. Yeah, like usually automation can solve most of our problems, but how can templates help in streamlining the deployment and configuration processes when it comes to cloud infrastructure?
Good question. So I'll also refer to our reference architecture, right? So and I'll try to make it full screen. Give me a second. So all right. So the way we approach that, this is based on our experience with so many migrations that we have done. So the best approach in creating templates and managing it is to use some sort of source control system. And the most popular one we all know, which is GitHub.com. And there are other alternates like GitLab, there is Bitbucket, and there are so many others. And also cloud providers like Azure has their own Git. Um, uh, AWS also provides the same. So you can choose which Git you want to use, but make sure that you have a Git based process. So that's what we have. We are showing here in this reference architecture. So so you basically separate them in such a way that there is separation of duty. So there are teams that are managing templates, and there are teams that are actually using them. They should be separate. So in a typical cloud situation, so these are the potential roles you will have on the left. So you have your stack engineers; those are the ones who manage the templates. Then you have the developers and operations, and then you have the approvers. So this process kind of outlines how you can implement a template-based process, which means here the stack engineers will keep their own Git repository with all the templates, and the developers and operations will have their own different Git repositories for their parameters. So the way templates usually work is templates can be created and source controlled like software, and you parameterize it. For example, you say, hey, in order for me to provision a website, here is a template for it. Here are the 10 parameters it needs. Right now, the parameters will be managed by the developers or operations team, and the template will be managed by the stack engineers. So that way, now you have separation of duty. You can then use what we call as Git flow to manage the templates as well as the parameters. And when the parameters get committed, the process automatically starts a pipeline, and that pipeline can deploy your cloud infrastructure.
So why exactly should the teams that manage and use the templates be separate? Why can't it be handled in one team?
So that's the best practice, when it comes to cloud, because it's software defined, it's better to follow a software development lifecycle. Their separation of duty is kind of important because you want to ensure that there is at least 2 or 3 people looking at a change. So remember, we are trying to make a repeatable process with less human error, right? So in this process, the human error factor is important. So when it comes to, for example, I have customers who came to me and said, hey, we did not know that 10 VMs were running or 10 servers were running for us for almost 3 months because we didn't have anybody check, right? Now,
Mhm.
when you go through this, or when you're following this Git-based process, if you separate the duty of saying, hey, here is one person who's going to make the change and then commit, and there is another person who's going to review it, right? So that's what we are trying to achieve it. So we are saying, hey, there are 2 sets of eyes going to look at this before it gets hit the cloud infrastructure. So that way you have a repeatable process, and we are trying our best to reduce the human error.
Awesome. Now I better understand it. So, Rajit, can you share any success stories or case studies where, the use of templates has accelerated cloud adoption?
Yes. So we have a healthcare firm based in US. They developed a new digital experience for customers, and they wanted to deploy that in the cloud. And uh, the original estimate of putting that there in the using the manual process was upwards to like 6 to 8 months. So, and we happened to come across them, and we were able to onboard them and put them in the cloud within about 6 weeks, right? So that's the speed you will get by using templates, because templates, there pretty much any use case you can think of, there are templates out there, and you can have us, or anyone who's experienced in creating templates. And by the way, every cloud provider has their own templating um, mechanism, so you just need to adopt one of them based on your need, and you'll be able to pretty much do everything in the cloud using templates. So that is one of the examples that I can give you, which is from 6 months plus, it came down to less than 6 weeks in getting them into cloud.
Yes. That's a huge difference. Like,
Exactly. And a couple more things I want to add there, Felician. One, in the 6 weeks, what we were able to give them is also all the best practices, right? So when you go and approach a company that is using what we call as army of people approach, right? So that's the most common approach that is used today in the cloud. When you want to get into the cloud, you just go to a system integrator, and they will bring in 10, maybe 100 people based on the type of workload that you want to move to the cloud. And then they use a manual approach to get you in, right? Or they might do some automation, but not 100%. So when you use a pre-tested template-based model, what happens is you get to immediately get to a point where all your best practices are in place, because
mhm.
these templates are already coded with all the best practices and industry security guidelines in mind, right? So this particular healthcare firm, we were able to get them a certification from their auditors within the 10-week period. So within 6 weeks it went live. Within 10 weeks they got all the certifications they need. Right now,
Yeah.
the competition wasn't um, agreeing to that, or they did not give them the confidence that they will get the certification in the given period, or the expected period. So we were able to achieve that. The reason is because our templates were pre-tested, and we went through several audits with multiple customers, and we were able to reuse all that experience and the template itself to bring them up to speed. And we have several such customers who we were able to achieve the same.
Yeah, like I think that time to market is even more important today, and that's what templates can help with. Like,
Right.
you don't have to wait 6 months to get started and push something out, but you can do it on an ongoing basis, basically. And
Yes.
if you listen to your customers, and yeah, they give you feedback that they're requesting a new feature or something, then you don't want to stop. You just want to keep rolling out quite often. Like,
Right.
that's the
And
thing.
and just to add to that, right, from again, not to plug our product, but see what we have, what we also achieved is that we were able to put our product in AWS Marketplace, and we got the qualified software badge from them. So the idea is, you can actually start a, a well architected infrastructure within a matter of an hour using our platform in AWS Marketplace, and we are now trying to get this platform out to Azure and Google as well.
Awesome. And Regit, are there some common pitfalls or challenges uh, that organizations should be aware of when leveraging templates? Because I guess
So
it always comes with, a smaller or bigger challenge. Like, it can't
right.
be so good.
So the biggest challenge that we face, it's I think organizations underestimate the amount of work involved in getting the cloud up and running and maintaining it, right? So most common issue that we face when we approach customers is the build versus buy approach, right? So because the cloud providers have all the documentation out there, and there are so many certifications out there, right? So the enterprises, most of the enterprises that we approach have this concern: hey, I have a team, and why can't they just build all this templates, right? Yes, they can, but it takes time, right? So build versus buy approach is a big challenge. So I'm not saying you should buy our platform, but there are products out there and there are templates out there that you can actually leverage, that will kickstart your onboarding process or journey to cloud. So I always recommend try something that is already proven instead of reinventing the wheel. Just because the APIs are there, the documentation is there from AWS, Azure. They all do good job with the documentation. They have tons of blogs. They have tons of workshops. But at the end of the day, you still need to adopt a model that works for you, and that's where these templates comes into play. So if somebody can provide you those templates, somebody can help you with pre-configured, pre-tested templates, that's the way to go. So that way you can accelerate things, and also, as I said earlier, you can directly get an environment that is following all the best practices, right?
Got it.
So to answer your question, the challenge is always: a do I build, do I buy, right? Or do I adopt a proven uh, template model?
Yeah, you have to evaluate all your decisions and basically take the best one. But Rajit, I have a question from Nilesh Pandit. So there are different ERP software systems, for example, SAP, Oracle, EBIS, JD Edwards, etc. And there are different reputed cloud vendors, as you said, AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle, and others. So here comes the question. What are the critical criterias and strategies which organizations should consider or use to decide which cloud is best suited for which ERP?
Oh, good question. So it's a very simple answer. So when we have vendor products, right? So this is a vendor platform. So somebody is providing the vendor software. So ERP systems comes under that, right? It's a vendor platform. So the best thing to do, or my recommendation would be, talk to the vendor, because they have to support it, right? And they have to show you estimates. So for example, I would just, if they say I have two, they can support both, or maybe two or more cloud, ask them for estimates, or on which one works better for their software, right? For example, they will need certain requirements on networking, certain requirements on speed of databases. So if it's a vendor software, always consult with the vendor. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just ask them questions and say, okay, where does it run better? Give me some proof, give me some estimates, right? And also ask them, if I have to move from one cloud to another, what does it take? Now, most vendors now that are mature, they have templates in the form of cloud formation templates in AWS, or Helm charts for Kubernetes. So ask them what kind of templating are they doing, and choose a vendor and a cloud platform that will get you the most speed when it comes to getting it up and running. If they have good templates, any vendor product should be up and running within a matter of a day or two, and you should be able to repeat it. You bring it up, dismantle it, try it again, right? So test the vendor, ask tough questions to the vendor, and go with what cloud works better for that vendor.
Awesome. And Rajit, are there some specific industries or use cases where templates, work better than in other cases?
So cloud works for most enterprises, and templates can be used in any shape or size. Even when you're deploying like a simple website, you could use templates. So it's a multi-vertical solution. So it doesn't matter what vertical you are in, you templates will benefit you. But the bigger your monthly bill, the bigger savings you will see. right? Because
Mhm.
in a larger enterprise, I'll give you an example. So when you go from an enterprise that's having $10,000 in monthly bill to $100,000 in monthly bill, both of them might be using the same templates, because in today's world, most of the application architectures are based on probably around 15 to 20 templates. Now, in a large enterprise, your ratio of repetition is higher, because you're going to use that 50, because you might have 1,000 applications using those 15 templates, right? So you will save more. And I think, and we have seen that as the enterprise becomes bigger and bigger, the percentage savings is becoming higher. It's not the same, because the templates are the same set and you're repeating again and again. So that means your percentages can go from, let's say, if you start with that 20% savings, as the number of workloads go up, your percentage in savings could go up to like 70. I have an enterprise that's saving up to 70% in their monthly bill by using templates.
That's huge.
That's
Like
huge. Exactly.
like we know that enterprises spend a lot of money on their infrastructure, and even if we take small numbers, like let's say $1 million, 70% saving, like you have $700,000 that you can spend on something else, be it on training of your workforce, it can be on some new software, it can be on yeah changing something in your company or reinvesting in it. Like you have to
To
look at
add
the savings.
to that point, right? So in large enterprises, what we have seen is a lot of them doesn't use auto scaling very well. By using templates, you can. So in an enterprise world, what happens is about 80% of their applications only need to run a few hours a day. Maybe only during the business hours. The rest of the time, those resources can be removed, and you can save huge in their monthly bill. Now, whenever most of the enterprises, when we walk in, we see that there is absolutely no use of auto scaling, which means their servers are running 24/7, and their business hours and their employees are coming online only during, say, 6 hours. So that means right there's a lot of savings,
Yeah.
right? So you should shut them down, and there are ways to shut them down. And I think the key is, the most of the people don't shut down because it's not automated.
Yeah.
Now, by using templates, you can put your business rules, your business hours, you can factor in all that and tailor your auto scaling based on that. And that's what we have done for our customers.
Yeah, like the savings can be found everywhere, but you have to look and actually
Exactly.
put in the work. Like,
Right.
Rajit, what are some best practices for customizing and adapting templates when it comes to meeting specific needs of an organization?
The most important thing is the templates need to be designed in such a way that those are parameterized, right? So you figure out, the least common denominator across multiple ways you can use a particular workload. Like, for example, I can give a good example. Very common thing in the enterprise world is using Spring Boot for their backend, right? So what you want to do is see if we can create one Spring Boot template that will work with all your applications. Now, how do you do that? You parameterize as much as you can, right? So we have, for example, we have one Spring Boot used by hundreds of applications, right? So the way you do that is, you look at all your Spring Boot use cases and figure out how different applications are using it, and give them parameters to reconfigure themselves. So most important thing to remember is make sure that templates are reusable, and the way you want to reuse is use parameters.
Awesome. Like one last question, also from Nilesh. Can cloud control help or guide to get the important and imperative questionnaires and templates which we have been advocating during this podcast?
Yes, we do. There is a QR code on the top. Please use that to download, and you can also contact us at lowtouch.cloud is our website. So simply go to lowtouch.cloud, and I'll go to this. I'll in the last page here. So lowtouchcloud.cloud is our website. It will take you directly to our website. You can contact us, or you can go to this LinkedIn or YouTube, send us a message. We can help you with that. We do assessments, and we have questionnaires on what templates to use, how to select a templating mechanism. We can help you with all that.
Awesome. So, Rajit, thank you for today, and thank you to the audience for joining us here. So, if you want to get some tips on your infrastructure, contact Rajit directly
Thank
on
you. Yeah,
LinkedIn or
please connect with
below
me
that.
directly too.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Felicia. Thanks a lot. This was a really good session. Great questions. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and see you again.
Thank you.